Hello, and welcome to the MMA Mic Drop Podcast. My name is Jade Bunky, and I am joined by the one and only Milo McGregor, who is not only one of the nation's top up-and-coming amateur surfers, but also an emerging MMA analyst. In today's episode, we are going to provide picks and predictions for every single fight on the Lewis versus Nascimento fight card. Milo, this UFC event has taken a little bit of heat, probably due to the main event. I think there's some fun fights on there. What if you were to give it a grade? How would you grade this card? What are your general thoughts of the card before we get into our picks and predictions?
Probably a C minus.
Really, that bad? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in a lot of fights. I mean, there's no fight. Like, there's not a lot of interesting, intriguing fights on the card, and it's just pretty mid, right in the middle.
Pretty mid, yeah. And it's interesting. I disagree with you a little bit. I think there's a lot of fun fights. I think there's a lot of interesting fights. I think one of the problems, though, is the main event lacks a little bit of sizzle. And we'll get into the Derek Lewis-Nascimento fight in a moment. But, Nascimento hasn't really beat anybody. He's someone that shouldn't really be on, the main card. But I'd still give it a B minus because I think there's some really fascinating prospects that are on this card. I think there's some really excellent matches that are going to deliver some pretty insane action. So let's get right into it. Derek Lewis versus Nascimento. Milo, what's your pick? What do you think is going to happen?
I think Derek Lewis by knockout just because he has that power like Alex Pereira and like Ngannou, but Rodrigo's really beat nobody, so I just don't see it going. Like, I don't really know how it's going to go.
In what round do you have him knocking Nascimento out?
Probably earlier rounds, first or second, just because Derek tends, I don't know, probably first or second.
First or second? Well, you got to pick one. You got to stick with it. First or second?
Second.
Second. That's funny. I have a very similar take. I mean, Rodrigo Nascimento, he's fought nobody. I mean, he's like 4-1, but he just hasn't fought anybody of significance. So you really don't know, how good he is. Even though he's 11-1 and he's done, well in a short UFC run so far. But Derek Lewis, was an elite level talent. And, the problem is now he's 39 years old. But with that said, you hit on the right thing because the one thing that doesn't really fade as much is power. And when you're talking about the best power punchers in UFC history, you're right. You're looking at Francis Ngannou. You're looking at Sergey Pavlovich. You're looking at really Derek Lewis in terms of the heavyweight division. And now we also know how hard, Alex Pereira hits as well. He's really elite. He has that elite power that can end a fight at any given minute. And, the only type of fighters that are really going to, handle Lewis right now is somebody that's a lot faster or somebody that's a real dominant grappler. I still think, I know he did lose to Tuivasa a little while ago. I think that was an aberration. Sergey Pavlovich, I mean, that's going to happen to just about everybody. Then he came out, I think it was against Lima, had that flying knee, looked a lot better. But I thought after that, he fought Almeida, and I thought that was the worst worst matchup he could have taken, or one of them, right? I mean, a rising, quick grappler who's dominated everybody in the UFC up until that point, and we saw he was just too young, too fast. But here against Nascimento, I mean, you're going to have somebody who's not going to be quicker than him. And if he does try to take it to the ground, I think Derek Lewis is going to punish him. I think he's going to find his chin. Give me Derek Lewis by third round knockout. All right, next up, Milo, I'd like you to read the names. My prediction for this is you will read one name correctly and you will absolutely butcher the second name in such horrible fashion that there's no way we're going to edit it because we want to show everybody how terrible this is.
So we have Jaquan Buckley.
You even screwed. That's the easy one. And you screwed Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin.
Dude, that's like, where'd you get the Y from? That's a J.
Yeah, but that's how you spell. That's how you pronounce it.
I don't believe in that. Okay.
So
and then Nursulton Ruziboev. Nursulton Ruziboev.
That's actually not that bad. You did better on Ruziboev, which I thought it was the one you would just absolutely butcher. Wow. That's fascinating.
Joaquin. Almost. Easy.
All right. So Joaquin Buckley, this is actually a really good fight, and I'm so excited, and I'm so happy that Dana White added this to the card. I don't know if you remember, Joaquin Buckley was lobbying and begging for a fight in St. Louis because this fight card is in St. Louis. This is his hometown. He wanted to be on it, and he was lobbying about as hard as I've seen a fighter lobby. And you know what? Good for him because he got on, he hustled, he made it happen. And this is a tough matchup. This is a really tough matchup for him. And before I get into my pick, let me just provide a little bit of insight in Buckley. We all know him. He has one of the best knockouts in UFC history. He was at middleweight. His two losses were, they're only, they weren't bad losses. Chris Curtis, Imavov, and then he moved down to welterweight, and he's 3-0 there. He's looked really good. He looks like he's getting better. He's an explosive athlete. He has insane power, and he's fun to watch. Now you move over to. Hold on, I'm going to bring up his record because his finish rate is insane when I talk about. Oops, got to the wrong person here. When I talk about Ruziboev, so he's new to the UFC. He has 2 quick finishes, which is par for his course, and for some reason which is par for the course of his tenure as a mixed martial artist. And although, okay, here we go. Because I just want to look at it because he has 34 wins, 32 of which have been by finish, which is absolutely insane. And I believe he's on a 10-fight win streak right now. Now granted, the first 2 guys he's fought in the UFC, I mean, they're first-round finishes. He hasn't, faced really good competition, but coming over from, some of these lower level promotions and coming into the UFC right away and being able to continue that streak, not only the win streak, but that finish streak, where he just finishes people so quickly is pretty impressive. I think this is going to be a back and forth war. I think this is going to be a really interesting fight. I think somebody's going to get knocked out or choked out. Give me God, I need to even look at his name again just to pronounce it. Ruziboev by 3rd round submission. Milo, who are you picking on this? What do you think's going to happen?
I think I'm gonna go Buckley by split decision.
Really? So you don't think you think it's actually gonna go the distance?
Yeah, I think so.
That's surprising because this is the one fight I think this fight I think somebody's gonna get knocked out, and this next one, Alonzo Menifield versus Carlos Ulberg. This is another good fight. I mean, both guys have showed some promise in the UFC. I'll be honest, Menifield, I completely wrote him off after he had a lackluster performance against St. Preux a couple years ago, and then he ended up losing to William Knight. I thought he was washed, but he looked really good recently. I mean, he beat was it Dustin Jacoby? Who, let me just check, see if that was correct. Yeah, Dustin Jacoby, who's a good fighter. Beat Jimmy Crute before that. He's had some good wins. He's 36. I thought he was probably going to fall off in his last 2 fights. I've been dead wrong. He's better than I thought he was. And the thing about Menifield is he is explosive. He fights in spurts. He comes out, he'll be measured for a moment, and then he'll just unleash a flurry, and he's got insane power. Now you move over to Ulberg. Ulberg's an elite kickboxer, and he's looked really good in the UFC too. He had an early loss, and I think it's 3 or 4 wins in a row. Let me just check. Oh, wait, it's actually a little more than that. 2, 3, 4. He's 5 wins in a row. The competition's gotten a little bit better, still hasn't really been against high-level competition. I think this is a really great matchup. I think it's going to deliver. But the thing is, I think that Carlos Ulberg, because he's a better kickboxer, and Menifield's route to, where he's most dangerous is on his feet, just delivering these heavy-handed shots. I think Ulberg's going to pick him up or pick him apart from the feet. Now, granted, Menifield can land something and end a fight at any given time. Milo, what are your thoughts of this fight? Do you like this matchup? And then what do you think is going to happen?
I think it's a good matchup. I think Carlos is just gonna beat him up for probably a round, and then Alonzo's gonna make a comeback and then win by decision.
Yeah, I know you said before you like that power of Menifield, and it's just he can probably be down and out. You just can't really count him out, right?
He just rushes forward and just blitzes in.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so read the next. Who's up next?
Next we have Diego Ferreira versus Mateusz Rębecki.
Mateusz, Zeus, is he throwing the thunder bolts from from Olympus? Mateusz
Rębecki.
All right, not too bad. So I think this one, this is a battle against age. Rębecki's looked pretty good. He's 19-1. He has a pretty good win streak. But I'm just looking. He hasn't really beat anybody of significance yet. And I'm not sold on him yet. He might be good. He might not. I don't know. I need to see him against better competition. Diego Ferreira would have been good competition quite a while ago. And I'm just looking up, the ages here because, Rębecki's 31. I believe Diego Ferreira's like 39, 40. Let me just double check. 39 years old. I think that's just, too old to, compete unless you have that power like Derek Lewis and you're one of the heavier divisions. Give me Rębecki by third round TKO. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Rębecki by first round TKO.
Is it the age difference or is there a certain thing?
Yeah, probably just the age difference.
Yeah.
Too young.
That's right. So this next matchup, I think this is an awesome matchup. Alex Caceres versus Sean Woodson. Caceres, he's been around for a while. He's actually he's shaped up to be a pretty good all-around mixed martial artist. He's fun to watch. He's a clever veteran. And I didn't think he would be long for the UFC, but he's been here for quite a while. Sean Woodson probably has the funkiest body type out of anybody in the UFC.
He's a crazy build. He's 6'2" and a featherweight. I don't think is that like the tallest featherweight ever?
It might be. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And he's got he's not skinny in the chest, but he's got these skinny little legs, and it looks like somebody's deliver a couple leg kicks and put him out, but
snap his legs. Yeah, but no, he's good. He's really good.
He's really good, and he really showed
me. He's really awkward too.
He's awkward. He's got really good boxing. Yeah, he's some interesting movement. And it's just his body type. I think it's just the oddest thing about him. But he has some pretty decent wins. I think Charles Jourdain was a good win, and Jourdain I think is pretty good. I think Woodson's getting better. I think this is a fun fight. I think it's going to be an exciting back and forth fight with a lot of fun exchanges, but it's going to be back and forth in a way that Sean Woodson is completely dominating. Like, I think Caceres is crafty enough to have some moments, but I think Sean Woodson is just going to pick him apart and outlast him in a very convincing yet fun, 30-27 decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Sean's just going to pick him apart for probably 3 rounds. Yeah.
You think he's going to finish him, or do you think it's going to go the distance?
No, just go to distance.
Okay. Do you think Caceres will have any moments in there, or you think he's just going to get thrashed?
I think he'll have moments, but I don't know. I think Sean's moments will just outweigh his.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. All right. I want you to read the next names.
Waldo Cortes-Acosta.
Perfect. Wow.
Versus Robelis Despaigne.
Wow, very good. Okay, Robelis Despaigne and Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Okay, good job. I'm surprised you're stepping up your game. I like that. Okay, this
84-inch reach.
What's that?
84-inch reach.
Oh, I think it's like 88. I think it's
no
like
way.
88. Yeah, he has I think the longest reach in the UFC. His reach is nuts.
It's getting a unit.
And so we're talking about Despaigne, and this is one of the reasons why I'm excited about this fight card. And I'm gonna look.
I didn't realize this was on the card.
Okay, yeah, this is. So Milo, why don't you read off to all the listeners how quickly Despaigne has knocked out everybody?
Hasn't it been in like 10 seconds?
Yeah,
almost every single time.
His UFC debut, Josh Parisian, 18 seconds. Before that, 4 seconds. The fight before that, 3 seconds. The fight before that, 12 seconds. And then in his debut, he still knocked this guy out in the first round, but it took him 4 minutes and 54
4 minutes, 50 seconds. Last second.
Yeah. And so it's him. I mean, he's an older prospect. He's 35, but he's an older prospect in the heavyweight division who has remarkable power. And so now, does he have that Derek Lewis level power? Does he have that Sergey Pavlovich level power? We don't know because he hasn't fought the best competition yet. And, but I'll say this, his fight against Josh Parisian, even though he's, one of the lower level UFC heavyweights, that's still a UFC heavyweight that he finished in 18 seconds. And he was kind of like off balance when he did it. And he just tagged him. And it just really shows that he does have that elite level power. And so, how's he going to match up against Acosta? Acosta's a boxer, right? He throws some straight strikes. He has a pretty decent record in the UFC. I believe it's like 4-1, but he's really fought nobody. And I'm going to go over and can you check who Acosta has fought?
He fought freaking, I don't know. These guys.
Oh, Andrei Arlovsky.
Arlovsky.
Yeah.
Rębecki, De Lima. He lost to him.
De Lima's not bad. He's not bad, but Chase Sherman, Jared Vanderaa, these are not real. These are not the top level heavyweights, and so I think it's a bit of an inflated, an inflated run in the UFC. I think he's coming up against somebody who's going to put him out. My question is how quickly he's going to put him out. I think Despaigne is going to knock him out. I think he's going to do it quick. Give me Despaigne.
Another first round
knockout.
Yeah, I agree. I hope so. Hope he continues the first round knockout streak.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to get him, like a bigger, a higher ranked fighter, or maybe even a ranked fighter after. Maybe he has to go through one more non-ranked guy, but it is interesting. I want to see how good this guy is. He's an elite level athlete with great power, but he's really new to MMA, and so I'm curious. I'm curious because when you have that level of power, I mean, things can happen.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Next up, we have Chase Hooper versus Slava Claus. I think this is a fascinating matchup. Chase Hooper, he's 7-3 in the UFC. He came in when he was really young. He's a really good grappler, absolutely terrible striker, although he's starting to look a little bit better at striking. And that could be a problem because Slava Claus is an elite level kickboxer. He can rip shots to the body. He's got really good kicks, strikes. But the thing is, he's absolutely terrible at wrestling. He's terrible at grappling. And so you have, this grappler versus striker matchup. And the question I have is, can Chase Hooper close the distance without getting, hit too hard and take him to the ground and control him? I think if he takes him to the ground, he's going to control him all day. He might even submit him. The question is, what's that going to be like coming in? Because Slava Claus is so much faster and he's so much better on the feet. And honestly, this fight, I'm torn. I've gone back and forth, and I don't know. There's scenarios where I can see Slava Claus just catching him on the way in and then knocking him out in the first round. I could see Chase Hooper controlling 2 out of 3 rounds on the ground. The one thing I don't see is Slava Claus by submission and Hooper by knockout. So let me take Chase Hooper by decision. And I'm going back and forth on my pick right now. What do you think?
I'm going to go Borshchev by third round knockout.
Third round knockout. All right. Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. That can happen. All right. Now this next fight, Terrance McKinney versus Esteban Ribovics. I think this should be on the main card. This fight, I guarantee you, will not go to the distance. I've said this before. Terrance McKinney is the best fighter in the UFC for 60 seconds. After that, it's anybody's guess. He finishes people. He finishes them fast. He is an elite level wrestler. He's an elite level striker. He has good power. Well, maybe not an elite level striker, but he has really he has insane power. I mean, he put out Matt Frivola in like 7 seconds. He was beating Drew Dober. He was just destroying him until he gassed, and that's the problem. He gets tired as the fight goes on. And when I say the fight goes on, he gets tired about halfway through the first round. So it's, he's either going to knock you out or submit you, or he's going to be knocked out and submitted. Esteban's a really good fighter. He's explosive. He's athletic. He's good. He's 12-1. I think both these fighters are good regardless of who wins or loses. I think both of these guys have really high upside. I see both of these guys, making it into the rankings. Some people have written off Terrance McKinney. I totally disagree with that. He's so exciting. He's so fun to watch, and he's still pretty young. He's 29. I think McKinney's going to do it. Give me Terrance McKinney by first round rear naked choke.
I agree with you. I'm going to go Terrance McKinney by submission.
Wow. All right. Next up, we have Tabatha Ricci versus Tecia Pennington. This is another really good fight for, Ricci's really good. So is Pennington. She's taken a couple years off. She's had a child. I'm going to go with Ricci by decision.
I'm going to go with Pennington by decision.
All right. And we're going to move through these last few picks just pretty quickly here. Billy Goff versus Trey Waters. Trey Waters is 6'5". He's absolutely massive. I think he's going to get it done here. Give me Trey Waters by third round TKO.
I'm going to go Trey Waters by TKO. First round.
First round. Okay. Next up, Charles Johnson, Jake Hadley. Johnson, he's, pretty quick, pretty fun to watch. Kind of had a so-so run in the UFC. Jake Hadley, I think, is a little underrated now. He came out as a pretty good prospect, took that loss to Cody Durden. I still think he's good. I think he's going to dominate this fight. Give me Jake Hadley by third round TKO.
I'm going to go Jake Hadley by decision.
Jake Hadley by decision. All right, next up we have Jared Gordon versus Kevin Jousset. I don't think either one of these guys is going to be in the UFC for much longer. Give me Jousset by decision. What do you think?
I'm going to go Jared Gordon by first round TKO.
Wow. All right. He does have some power. He can hit hard, so that's not a bad take. Yep. JJ Aldrich versus Veronica Hardy. Now, Veronica Hardy is interesting. She looked terrible in her first run in the UFC. She's come back. She looks a lot better. And, she's had a couple surprising wins. Or surprising win. I think her last one might have been a split decision or a draw. I can't remember. JJ Aldrich, she's actually done a little better than I thought. I think this is a pretty good fight, a pretty good matchup. Let me just see. I just want to double check with Hardy here. Oh yeah, that's right. It was a split decision against Jamie Lynn Horth. That's the one. And then she beat Juliana Mueller in her in her return fight. I've been going back and forth in this, but give me, let's see, hold on. It's stuck. Give me Hardy by decision. Who are you taking?
I'm going to go Aldrich by first round TKO.
All right. There you have it. Those are our picks, but don't leave because we're going to get into our next two segments, kicking it with Milo and Kook of the Week. Milo. As most of you, as I already mentioned, Milo is one of the top up-and-coming surfers in the nation, so we are trying to learn a little more about him. And I just got word that you finished pretty high overall for the entire season in NSSA. The rankings came out. How'd you finish?
I think I finished fourth. Yeah.
Okay, you finished second. How do I know that and you don't know that?
No, I didn't. Yeah, did I finish second? Oh, my dad's in the jacuzzi.
Dude, your dad.
No, I finished fourth. I think my dad told me I finished fourth.
Your dad sent me a screenshot of the rankings.
Oh, I think that was for open men's in the WSA. Okay, I guess I finished second.
No, it was NSSA, which is.
Yeah, he said I finished second. Yay.
Oh boy! All right. So.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Well, congratulations on finishing. How do you feel about finishing higher than you just thought you did 1 minute ago?
No different.
No different? It wasn't first, so you're not happy?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, man. All right. Well, there's a little more about Milo. Let's get into our last section, Kook of the Week. Milo, do you have a Kook of the Week?
Yeah, you do yours first and let me think about it.
Okay. So instead of doing the Kook of the Week, I'm going to do the Hero of the Week. And that is because we always give some of the refs a lot. We give the refs some heat. There's some bad decisions. It's a tough job. But I want to give a ref some significant credit. In the last fight card, I'm trying to remember. Somebody grabbed the fence and he took an immediate point away from him. And I thought that was awesome. I think fence grabbing, you should take an immediate point. There should not be warnings because that's intentional. The eye pokes, yes, could be more damaging. The nut shots could be more, well, those aren't really damaging. Those could be more painful than anything else. But those are usually, truly accidental, right? If you go up and grab something, that's intentional. And even if it's somewhat reflexive, it's still not like, it's an eye poke because I was reaching and you moved your head this way, or, it was a nut shot because I meant to go, kick you in the leg and I just kind of mixed, or, you know what I mean? Those are more accidental and deserved, a little bit of leniency. I don't think there should be any leniency with cage grabs. Oh yeah, I think it was Orobai. Yeah, that's right. It was Orobai. And it was when he was going to be taken down, and if you do that, that can change the whole nature of an entire fight. Change the scoring of a round. So I can't remember the guy's name who did that. I could visualize what he looks like. I just can't remember his name for some reason. I'm drawing a blank, but he is the opposite of the kook of the week. He is the hero of the week because I thought that was awesome. And I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I think it's awesome. You should not incentivize cage grabs. And if you grab the cage, if you know for certain that you're going to get a point taken away, guess what? People are going to stop doing it. Milo, have you come up with a kook of the week?
Yeah. One of the judges for Urseg versus Pantoja, I think he put it 49-46.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he did? Dude,
yes.
I think that's crazy. I think it was a lot closer than that.
Well, and it's funny because I think a lot of people agree with you, but that's actually the scorecard I had. I had four because we talked right after the match. And you're like, that's 49-46 Urseg, and I'm like, no, that's 49-46 Pantoja. Now I could agree either way because I could see a scenario in which Urseg won, at 3 rounds out of 5. So I'm not, I think any scorecard could work pretty much there. But yeah, I thought that was a reasonable scorecard. That's what I had. I know a lot of people will disagree with me because there's a lot of people saying Urseg got robbed. So you thought he got robbed?
I don't think he got robbed. I just thought I expected it to be a split decision, not just like, I don't know. I expected it to be a lot closer than that. But
yeah,
I guess all the rounds could have gone either way. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe, I think there are a couple rounds that. Yeah, well, I think the exception of the first and fourth, right? I think the first was pretty clearly Pantoja. I think the fourth was pretty clearly Urseg, right? The other 3 that could go either way, and I'm not going to be mad at any score.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Yeah, there we have it. Milo, do you have a last word for everybody?
Drop the mic.
All right, we're out.